Hey, I was checking my email last night and saw a Good Morning Forecaster last week and got a chance to check this out and really just wanted to share some thoughts because I felt like I've also gotten to experience this from a number of sides. One, at base, two, at Zora, and then three, in the community. And it seems like it's a really interesting time in general in our space, considering all the changes that have happened over the past year. Um, and, anyways, just wanted to dive into sharing some thoughts. I think one at base, um, base has been the fastest growing layer two ever, and one of the fastest growing networks in recent years. And I think one of the biggest things that they've done that made them really successful was capturing like the early interest of builders, because historically, with Bitcoin, you can't really build anything on chain with it. You can buy and hold Bitcoin. With Ethereum, not so much anymore. Super awesome in that you can build apps. Connect them in all kinds of new ways to new types of real use cases and applications to help others. But then we saw, as long as that started growing to the point that it did, it actually became prohibitive because it was like so expensive to do things on chain. And in that, we found ourselves ultimately to a point where when Base launched, it's fast, cheap, and unlocked a whole new type of building that people hadn't been able to do before. And in that, I think we saw a lot of growth, ultimately, which came into the social aspect, the creator coin focus aspect of little over a year ago. And in that transition, like in the base app, to becoming more of a social app. Um, I think high level, the thought there is really well targeted and genuine in that not everybody is a builder, but everybody potentially is a content consumer. And within that, also somewhere in between builders and content consumers are a lot of creators. Anyone can post online. And I know, at least for myself, I felt really strongly in this idea. I didn't create the phrase, but to use it, of a social renaissance where we're using these different platforms, Facebook, X, Instagram, others, where a lot of the value of our attention has been extracted away, and we're fed these for you algorithms full of slop to capture even more of that attention and value, and we receive nothing in return except less time to do other things that create value for us. And so I really love the idea that, is there a way that we can have shared upside, and that I see something that you've done, I spend a few minutes of my time interacting with it in some way, and there's some net increase in value for both of us in exchange for that. And I think Zora was really successful early on in that, probably the most successful company early on in that. I feel like the NFT side of what they were doing, where every post was like an NFT, had a lot of potential benefit there. But one of the issues that we could see is that NFTs in themselves aren't really that liquid. Like, people aren't buying and selling NFTs every day, like at a level of frequency to where that's going to sustain the platform. It's going to sustain the creator. So in my opinion, I think that's where we saw that change go into fungible tokens, and the whole idea that, like, the creator themselves, the creator coin, the content itself, the content coin, is a tradable market. And so in that, being able to much more frequently trade, we can start to see a form of protocol revenue drive into the community around that creator, the creator itself, his or herself, and that kind of shared upside where we're using social media now in a way that in exchange for our time and attention, we all come out better, ideally, alongside that. And that did not happen. I think high level in the space right now, this focus on DeFi, the market dynamics are highly extractive. In order for somebody to be able to win, to create value, somebody else has to lose value. And so that fundamental push and pull around a token creates really difficult situations that we saw on Zora, we've seen on other platforms, not even in the EVM, on Base, on Ethereum, but on other networks as well, like Solana, Pump Fund, like highly controversial as well, lots of debate around it, but just that the people that are early are typically, more times than not, the sole group of people that benefit over anyone else that comes along late. And just even looking back into, say, like Zora on Base, you see these different creator coins launch, especially like last year, where boom, so-and-so launched a creator coin, and then within not even days, like hours, like you just see a decline in price. And the people that are then discovering it via social, that aren't first, that aren't early, that still want to be a part of that, end up losing money. And it's not even Zora and Base. We saw that even with coming out of the elections, like with, Trump and Melania coins, just like such a small fraction of people even benefited financially from those. And I feel like that's where we've come to our current place in this space, where it's just so highly concentrated around DeFi and trading, and it's gotten away from this place that we were at, I'd say maybe before Farcaster had a wallet, before the Base app was anything other than predominantly a wallet, where we had this opportunity to create all kinds of things that weren't limited by expensive transactions or potentially being slow, super fast, super easy to connect with somebody on the other side of the world. And so in that, it's kind of like the famous, like, we wanted flying cars, we got 140 characters. I think that, like, we wanted a better financial system. We wanted open commerce. We wanted to be able to transact with anyone, anywhere. We wanted to bank the unbanked. And in a lot of places, right now, I think instead of flying cars, we've gotten like another Atlantic City Boardwalk or Las Vegas side street. And it's disappointing to see that. And that's also kind of what I think has made me want to just get back to building in the space and just focus on what are just apps that, just has like awesome Web2 experience in the front, crypto in the back. In some places, maybe we don't need crypto. In some other places, maybe crypto is the most important thing that's part of it. But if you just even go into, so like the App Store, the Play Store, wallets aren't even really wallets anymore. They're just mainly these kind of speculation interfaces. Just even look at like the metadata view. Like when I say metadata, like the title of the apps, MetaMask, the Base app, Bantam. Try to go find a wallet where it's just not all focused around like trade, speculate, which I don't think is like a really healthy experience for growing the pie. we're in a world where I think it's like something like 90% of the world still hasn't used crypto. And in a lot of ways, I think it's something really still interesting to a lot of people, but it's also really dangerous. It's almost like that risk, that knife blade of wanting to try something out and then just being bombarded with all these different tokens and these green numbers, these red numbers. Wow, that's a really big green number, but it's just a dice roll, and very low likelihood that the majority of people are going to come in and end up in a better place through that type of user experience. And the type of user experience we need is for the majority of people to be able to come in and realize that the fact that they did interact on chain was worth their time. It made their life better. It made their life easier. So I feel like the current DeFi trend is really concerning with that. And I miss the early Farcaster days before like Farcaster even had a wallet, like the earliest days, maybe even right before Frames, before like way before mini apps, where it was like this tight niche of just super talented people that are still there, still here, figuring out how to build something better together. And I think that part of the danger there is because the platforms and networks themselves that we're doing this on, that we're trying to collaborate together on, face the kind of pressure that we see permutate in this like number go up DeFi space, where I launch my own social network, I have investors, I see high early growth. A lot of people are coming to the platform. How does it monetize? How does it create revenue? Like, what can we do here to capture value on top of this attention? And I think it's similarly a challenge like with Base, where we have this growth early on. We have all these apps, but like, where does that lead to a huge increase in volume, value for shareholders, Base being like a Coinbase project? And then even with like Zora, where you have a lot of creators that came onto the platform early on that were really attracted to this model of like, I'm creating something that 100% of the value for 99% of the people that use it in Web 2 isn't just going to Meta, isn't just going to TikTok or X. It's actually got some type of upside for me. And unfortunately, the main area where we're seeing that traction right now is through like this rampant speculation that's happening in the space, where we see these new coins, these new tokens launch, and the actual volume that creates those fees is the main driver of revenue for the platforms, the networks that support it. And in order for that to work, in order to have that type of volatility, that accrual, in order for people to win, you need other people to lose. And it's not positive sum. And so I think that's where we end up seeing ourselves in a lot of ways over the recent months in a negative place. So anyways, I hope we can get back to more experiences where it's not just about trading, swapping, speculation. It's okay, like for people that that's like their main interest. And I feel like that's part of what makes this space awesome, is that there should be something for everyone. But for a lot of people, I think it's become difficult for anyone to come in and see anything other than that. So anyways, kind of meandering there, but uh, good morning.